The Game Time Podcast is sponsored by Matt Gaddis at State Farm. Whether it's your car, home, or renter's insurance, Mac's got you covered with fast, reliable service and a personal touch that you can trust. His info is on screen right now, so reach out today and see why so many people rely on Matt Gaddis. Big thanks to Mac for supporting the Game Time Podcast.
Let's start.
Man, let's talk about yesterday. College football. Again, another week, another few surprises. You know, Cincinnati blew out Iowa State. I understand they were the favorites, but that game wasn't as close as the score indicated. The score was 38-30 Cincinnati, but Iowa State in the fourth quarter had a furious rally. They were down, I think, 16 points. They were just manhandled throughout the game. Cincinnati seemed like they were a little bit faster throughout the game. They were a little bit more intense. And it showed. It showed throughout the game that was a full-fledged beatdown that Cincinnati gave Iowa State. And we talked about Iowa State as a team that we looked at in the Big 12, in the Big 12 as a team that would maybe be the champs. We talked about that I think about 3 weeks ago. That was a tough hit for them. But it's one game, and as we talked about, every week takes on its own identity, right? Cincinnati was hot and ready to roll. So, you gotta give them credit for what they did, for sure. Then skipping over to Texas and Florida manhandled Texas the whole game as well. That game was, the score is 29-21, but if anybody looked at that game, you saw that from the start, Florida was faster. Texas looked lost. Again, they look conservative in their play calling, or not sure, or maybe they're not conservative. Maybe Sark is only giving Manning what he can handle.
Yeah,
that's something to ponder as well. This is 3 games in a row where he hasn't looked good against high-end talent, right? High-end talent.
This was their first SEC game too.
Yeah. He looked pedestrian against, Ohio State. He didn't look very good in week 3. I figure they played in week 3. So I don't know. Maybe, the name on the back has a lot of people, being biased with him and also against him. But he hasn't looked the part in his first year of a starting quarterback. I think there was a document that says something along the lines of he's had 5 wins as a starter, and none of them were Power 4 schools. So yeah, that's tough, man. That's a tough gift for him.
No, I was also gonna say, and I said it. I think I said it to you yesterday as a Quinn Ewers supporter. I had people telling me last year, they need to start Arch. They need to play Arch. Arch looks so good in the games he subbed in for Quinn. And I'm like, I don't think that's the right decision. But if you want to think that, okay. So I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, Arch has a higher ceiling, and it's his first year as a full-time starter. He will more than likely get better and be better and probably end up winning a national title. I'm not doubting that at all. He's a sophomore?
I don't think the rest are sophomore, but I don't know, man. I haven't seen anything to indicate that he's going to be electric, right? And I'm not talking about running electric. I'm talking about a combination of making the decision making. Yesterday, multiple bad decisions, bad interceptions. I don't know. It just seems like the game may be a little too fast for him right now, but it seems like it shouldn't be because he had a couple starts last year. This is his 3rd year in the program. This isn't his first year in the program. Mind you, he's a redshirt sophomore. And I don't see anywhere where he said, well, this is definitely the making of a Heisman Trophy winning national championship quarterback. And I'm the one who said in the beginning of the season that I felt Texas had the most talent in the country, and usually the quarterback on the most talented winning team has the Heisman consideration. But those things are way in the rearview mirror, and I was absolutely wrong when it comes to Manning and the opportunity for him to win the Heisman Trophy. Hell, but the way it looks, with the way Texas played yesterday, I don't see them in the SEC title game the way they played yesterday. Now, that was game 1 of the SEC conference play, So they've got an opportunity to right the ship. But they better do something. They look really simple. They don't look explosive, and they don't look like they're very creative. And Sark is known for his creativity. I don't see it.
They have no time to rest. They play Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So their season could potentially be over in a matter of the next couple weeks. They play Oklahoma. That could be a loss. They play Kentucky in Kentucky. That could be a loss if they continue to play how they
lose
are
Kentucky.
playing.
It's definitely over. It's over at that
I know,
point.
yeah. And then they got to go to Mississippi State. And we've talked about Mississippi State on this podcast.
Yeah.
And
They play better. They play much better at home, man. Mississippi State play really well at home. Yeah. The laughing stock of the day. Penn State losing to UCLA.
Oh my goodness. That's worse than Texas, honestly. That's probably worse than Texas. You drop the ball after they don't have a coach, they don't have a head coach, and they don't have a D coordinator. That's horrible.
And the only excuse you could give Penn State is you're a far East Coast team going to the far West and having an early game. I don't know how much that plays into it, because I'll guarantee you some of those kids from Penn State are from the West Coast.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man, but they got it handed to them. And again, it was 42-37. I didn't see but the last quarter, but my take is I saw the score. I saw the ticker on the score. They were behind from the start, man. I think it was 17-7 out the gate.
I was keeping up with the scores because I was broadcasting yesterday, and I saw it was 10-3. That was the earliest I saw the game, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like 10-3. I'm like, okay. And then I looked back up again. I think it was like 28 to something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, are they gonna lose? So for them to lose, I mean, their season's potentially over. When you look at it, IU is sitting in a really good spot, but you got to beat Penn State now.
Now they're only sitting at a good spot if they beat Penn State. And also the other part is, if you give, again, I think we've on this show said we don't believe that Indiana would beat Oregon. Mm-hmm. But with that said, at least show up.
Yeah,
at least show up and show them that you're men on that side, right? I don't think most people expect Indiana to go out to Oregon and win, but if you can have a good showing and show that, hey, listen, we're here to stay, then you turn around and beat Penn State, then you got people talking.
They both had a bye week, so it's not like one team has some tread on the tires while the other one, is sitting at home. So I think it'll be an even playing field. They will be in Oregon, which is going to be tough. Big game for Signetti, though.
Is that a noon game?
I don't have that schedule pulled up.
No, it's a 3:30 game. So Indiana can't say, well, we got, we went out west and it was like a morning start. 3:30 start for Indiana is a 12:30 start. So they're in the Big 18. So that's kind of when they've been, most of those games are anyway around that noon start, the noon time as well. So no excuse from a time perspective. And again, you had a bye week. So you've had a week to kind of get your minds right, getting your hyperbaric chambers or whatever you got to do.
Yep. The other team I want to talk about is Miami. Like, are you bought into Miami at this point? Like, are they real deal championship contenders?
Total domination yesterday. Yeah. I had that up on my second screen yesterday, from start to finish. Yes, it's a rivalry game. It's the Florida State championship and all of that. Florida State came to play as well, but it just looked like Miami just better. Miami was faster. They were quicker to the ball, and the guy I've kind of given a whole bunch of business to, their quarterback. Unfortunately, another good game for Carson Beck. 20 for 27, 241, and 4 touchdowns. I've been a big naysayer for Carson Beck because of the way, how he played in Georgia. But he has come to Miami, 74% throwing yesterday, 4 TDs, no interceptions, ball on time. He carved him up, man. He carved him up yesterday. That game also wasn't as close as the score indicates. There's a lot of late rally stuff yesterday that made, that kind of gave you an impression that either A, it was a blowout or B, it was a very close game. Florida State scored 19 points in the fourth quarter. Let's give you an example.
Yeah.
They had 3 points through 3 quarters.
But they had
3 points through 3 quarters. And clearly Miami took their foot off the gas in the fourth quarter. They took their foot off the gas a little bit in the fourth quarter.
It feels like they're legit, but I a part of me is also like, man, they're an ACC team, so I'm like, I don't know.
Well, we'll say this: they didn't run the ball well yesterday. But if you, man, I'm not going to sit there and say I'm a believer in them in the national title hunt.
No,
if they keep playing like this and smacking people around, all you gotta do is just win one game in front of you. You can't play 2 games at a time.
It's crazy. We talked about Kalen DeBoer, his job, everything else. They may be the best SEC team right now.
Again, week over week, man.
That's the joy. That's the joy of having a podcast, though, because we overreacted. We overreacted so bad.
I agree.
I did. Me and Ramon
that's
did.
The thing. You two were like, he's got to go. You even talk about the fake heart attack guy. What's his
I don't know.
Their previous coach from Florida and Ohio State.
Urban Meyer.
Yeah, the fake heart attack guy. Oh, Urban Meyer, come to Alabama. Are you serious? Again, let it play out, right? Let it play out.
Yeah.
And what we've seen so far is that Florida State butt whooping they took in week 1 is still resonating with them. It's still resonating with them because you see it on the field how they're going at things. They're very aggressive in their play calling. They are very conservative in week 1 against Florida State. Yeah, I know it was raining and it was bad field, and Ty was his first start of his career. All those things, but they looked scared.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, even in the Georgia game, the game plan has opened up. So many different formations, so many guys touching the ball. They play 6 or 7 receivers, probably 50% of the snaps of the game. That's never been done under a Nick Saban team, right? Guys are fresh, running those deep routes, those deep overs. They're fresh. Get off the field. Let your guy in, right? The thing about yesterday with Bama, Vanderbilt hit him in the mouth, right down the field, hit him in the mouth. Then Bama came back and scored, and it was back and forth in the first half. But in the second half, Bama threw a shutout. They just wore them. They just wore on them. And that quarterback for Vanderbilt, listen, I get there's a lot. You talk, you won last year. That's all fine and dandy. But he was very disrespectful to on the field prior to the game. He was practicing the victory formation prior to the game. He was grabbing his junk and sticking his middle finger up to the fans. All of that, right? And then there's a video when they're coming off the field at the end of the game. There's a fan. He probably had too many Bud Lights in him, and he was talking crazy. And then one of the coaches for Vanderbilt said, "Watch your mouth. These are kids. Watch your mouth. These are kids." Man, that dude Diego Pavia is like 27 years old, man.
Yeah.
And he's cussing. He said twice, "I do what the F I want to do," to the fan as he's coming off the field. He's not a kid. When these young men start getting paid, that amateurism out the window, right? So you're going to be subjected to taunting by fans. Not making it personal. Don't make it personal, but saying, "Hey, you talked a lot and you didn't back it up," is a fair statement, because he said, "I look forward to going to Bryant-Denny. It's going to be fun." Mm-hmm. Well, ask him how much fun did he have? Because based off of how his play was, he didn't have a lot of fun.
It was a tough game, but and Vanderbilt, credit to them, they're not the doormat of the SEC no more. So I mean, they held it close, but I mean, they like you said, second half, Bama got going and they won the game as they should have. We're a couple weeks into the season. And this is about the point where you said, we're starting to see who the real contenders are and stuff like that. So I want to hear directly from you. Who are your contenders now? As we're a couple weeks into this, you told me and Ramon both. Me and Ramon definitely, we like to jump the gun, talk about it early, stuff like that. We've got a couple weeks in.
And it's still a little early, but
yeah, I know. But Texas played an SEC team. Everyone's played in the conference at least once now. So how are you feeling after this week?
I feel good about Bama as they've continued to grow, right?
Yeah.
But what no one's talking about is Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Texas A&M has just gone in and just played. They got a strong defense. They got a capable offense. They're 5-0 and number 6 in the country. So my top team is still Ohio State. I think Ohio State is 1. I think until otherwise notified, Oregon is 2. Yeah. I absolutely believe that. And then you've got a muck, right? You've got Bama, you've got A&M, you got Ole Miss, you got Miami. A lot of people are sleeping on Georgia Tech, still not giving them a lot of love. I still like Georgia Tech. Also, you got Oklahoma, and again, it's not being an SEC bias. We're just talking about teams. You know, you're talking Ole Miss, A&M, Alabama, Missouri, Oklahoma, Georgia, and LSU still only has 1 loss, and Vandy has 1 loss, and Tennessee has 1 loss, right? Yeah. So there's still going to be some stuff shaking up in the SEC, but in my order as it stands right now, I say Texas A&M is the best in the SEC right now.
Really?
A&M, absolutely. I say because they also, you know why? They played the tougher schedules. Mm-hmm. They went on the road and beat Notre Dame. They beat Mississippi State this past week.
That quarterback's really good too.
Yeah, he is really good. You know. Then also don't forget, they beat Auburn. They beat Auburn in a tough game. Auburn's a tough team, physical team. So I say right now, I'm going to go with A&M as the best team in the SEC right now because they don't have a blemish, and they went on the road in a hostile environment, and they took care of business. Yes, it's Notre Dame, and we think that Notre Dame hasn't played the type of competition, but they got really, really good players. Yeah. And that has to account for something, right? It has to. So for me, I think those. I think I gave you 5. I think I said Oregon, Ohio State, A&M. You're talking about Ole Miss, Bama. Then you're talking about Oklahoma. Then on the ACC, you're talking about Miami, and still Georgia Tech is laying in the weeds. I think. Yeah. And don't forget what Virginia's done either. They played well yesterday too.
And then
they beat Louisville in Louisville.
There was 2 teams you also forgot was IU and Texas Tech. Those are the other 2 that are they're not. I wouldn't say they're contention national.
That's all I thought.
They're there. They're in the mix.
If we want to talk tiers, that next tier, right? They're at the top. But Texas Tech, man, they get another big win under their belt. They might be in that upper tier as well. Yeah, I'll look forward for the rankings to come out and see how things are shaking up. I did look 3 weeks ago. If you look at 3 weeks ago to now, man, upside down. And I promise you, 3 weeks from now is going to be upside down because these games and the talent pool is so close, man. Yeah, it's so spread out. You don't have 105 scholarship anymore. You can just stack guys on your bench anymore. Guys want to play. Yeah, and you're seeing it. You're seeing a lot of that too. So yeah, I love this time of year, man. For college football, it's great. Ohio State's a clear 1, but after that, I think everybody any week can get thumped.
I don't disagree with